Go do it. Make it live. All that stuff. Do it to it. And we are going to go back to the phones. Actually, we're going to do this. We're going to go back and do the old skip Skype. The old skip Skype here. Maybe Ross will pick up the horn. I don't know. There he is.
Is that all of us?
I'm working on adding John in, and we will get off and running here. Look at that. Bang. And we are going to have a little bit of time here before we get to our our porn star at the top of the hour, who is going to probably throttle Ross because every time I'm in Vegas, you're not there with me.
My loss, I guess.
My loss, I guess. Well, we've got a little bit of time where it's just going to be us chatting. John.
You just lost you there, Jig.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, both of us did.
Okay.
But
can you hear me
no,
now?
You're back. You're back.
There you go.
There we go. Okay, so John, what stood out to me was I liked Gina. She was great, but she's a big lib. She was talking about
to a point, but I mean, I like her. I thought she was great.
All that.
I thought she was really good.
The last chick, she was kind of a big lib. I kind of got that impression.
To a point, you can tell because when she's talking about privilege, it's like
I know.
I'm sorry, I grew up in small town Kansas, and we weren't privileged at all. So I mean.
And her female
it doesn't
anthem
matter.
song, you know.
Yes, the female anthem as
sister
well.
Song.
I thought she was cool altogether, but yeah, I could tell that. But I mean, she didn't like flaunt it.
I tried to respect her. I just talked about the genre of music. So you know. But we can slam her now if you want to.
We can slam her now if you want.
No.
Don't we always? No.
So, well,
I just do that with the.
Oh,
I
by
just
the
do
way,
that
I'm
with the
going
New Era
to.
podcast.
I'm going to.
That's right.
This is not supposed to be. You're not supposed to show indulgence on international TV. But I'm going to. But this is the only thing I have in common with Elizabeth Warren is that we both drink Michelob Ultra, but I drink the gold. I drink the gold stuff, so
Did you get that from the reservation like her?
Yeah, we're both off the reservation, that's for sure. But yes, so that's my thing in common with. I thought I'd just interject that in there since it is the Jiggy Jaguar show.
That's right.
And there's no drama on this at all.
There's no drama here. Nobody does any drama here. We have no drama
Ever.
on this
Ever.
show.
Even unless rappers are there. And then there's Okay, tell us our update. We were talking what the heck's up for the rest of the hour?
Okay, well, we have Catherine Taylor, who holds the distinction of being the very first porn star we ever interviewed on this show. She is going to be at the top of the hour. And
this was back when I suggested it like 10 years ago or something like that?
Yes.
Bring it on, babe.
And the last time we had her on, John talked to her and said afterwards, he's like, wow, I did not think she was going to be as smart as she was.
They're amazing. I mean, that's quite. They're quite the entrepreneurs and everything. They.
What are you trying to do? Start drama, Jiggy? I didn't see that and stuff.
I mean, okay. Of all.
Next thing you're going to be telling me
chicks,
is like Jimmy the Funk Armstrong is good.
You know what we all have in common. You bring up wrestling. We all know Kenny Zombie Jones. Unfortunately, look at Ross.
Get himself killed.
I mean, I thought I was
He's
a
an
wrestling
idiot.
nerd. Kenny is like a huge nerd. It makes me feel better about myself, man.
Oh, that you have some padding on you, because he's going to kill himself.
Oh no, man, he's done everything, man. He's earned every bit of fame he's got.
Okay.
I mean, he pushes himself, so.
I'm sure he does.
I think you guys aren't best of friends, so don't worry.
Okay. Nothing against Kenny. I hope him the best, and I think well about him, and I hope he goes far in his, especially his on-screen career that way. What did I see? There was like some show on about like illegal wrestling, or they did like fire wrestling and barbed wire or something, or
Outlaw Mud Show,
uh,
or is that NWE, or which one?
no, it was like it was an off show. It was done on on ESPN 8 or something. It was about wrestling, and when they went across the line and did the barbed wire stuff and did stuff with fire and stuff you're not supposed to do on wrestling. You would know, you guys would know better than me. I just
I'll have to look that up.
We'll have to look that up.
That's probably something
I'll try
Ian
to.
Rodden's thing out of Indiana or whatever. And Kenny would know that. He's been there. There's a promoter out of Indiana called Ian Rodden, and he's had like weird ass shows like that. So.
Okay, it could very well be, because it was just something that I was flipping by on.
So John, how are things in the Wichita area? Is it just kind of crazy, or is everybody?
People are, to a point, are actually staying home like they're supposed to, but you also see every day you wake up, there's like arrests, there's things. It seems like the violent offenses are coming up more, but it's because they're the only people out on the streets, so they're being stupid, so they get caught. It's like, seriously, every day you wake up, there's like 3 arrests. Like, somebody was shot down in Arc City the other day, and it's
wow.
Some dude stabbed and killed his girlfriend and his kid. They're looking for him. It's weird in that aspect, but it's just trying to figure out the uncertainty on certain stuff. It's like I listen to the governor every time she does an update. I listen to when the Department of Labor does an update and everything. And it's like amazing how if you just sit back, shut up, and listen instead of keep typing the same question 14 times, you'll actually get an answer. It's like I'm looking and they're like, well, when is this going to? I was like they know, dumbass. It's like, well, you should have been better prepared. Like, yeah, we thought there was going to be a huge freaking pandemic, so we got that ready, dipshit. It's like.
Can you tell me around about how many people in the Wichita or Sedgwick County area have been infected that way?
I think they said there was 39 people that have been infected in the Sedgwick County. There's been 2 deaths there. The biggest hit area is up towards the Kansas City area on the Kansas side, and then I guess there's some kind of smaller county where they had a pretty big spike, but it was because somebody got infected at a assisted living facility, so almost everybody in there has been infected.
And I like to compare Wichita many times with Colorado Springs because they're similar sized cities that way, and the counties are similarly populated, with much of it being rural. And then, that center area being very urban, the biggest urban area in Kansas that way. It's much that way with Colorado Springs. But yeah, I think they have about 60 to 70 cases and maybe 6 or 8 deaths. In my county, just one county south of El Paso County, which is Colorado Springs, Pueblo County, we have 6 cases and 2 deaths. So I'm hoping this trend that we're seeing for like our size towns and cities will be maintained, because it's certainly not like the Kansas City area. There's a lot more people there, and there's going to be a lot more people getting hit with it.
Yeah, but the difference between it and like New York and stuff is New York is kind of like over. And like, I'm surprised that like Tokyo and stuff doesn't have a huge, because everybody lives on top of each other, and that's where you have the hard time with it. And it's like just now, it's like everybody's talking about how we've got so many more cases here. It's not really. It's just we've actually tested people. It's like once you actually test people, you're gonna see it, but they're not broadcasting the uninfections. It's like I've seen different stuff in the Kansas media talking about, oh, there was 10 that was said recover, there was 14 over here recovered. Da, da, da. Well, I've been looking at the stats and it only shows 3 recoveries in Kansas. So it's like they try to do things to make it whatever they want.
And there could be thousands in Kansas who've had it and don't even know it and have already gotten over it. You know, there could very well be that number that we will not know but stats in the end bear it out. But it's hard to figure it out as it's going on. And yes, they like to do this damn computer modeling, which is always wrong. It just is. It's always wrong. Because it's always and forever dependent on what, information you put into it. And
right.
It's
you like
stretch out for over time, and just those kind of variables that we have no idea what they be.
It's
come
also
into
the
play.
misinformation that you see all over the place. A friend of mine, he's extremely liberal, but we get along because we both know each other. We both know we're good people. We just have differing opinions on stuff. He was online and he was asking, he goes, can somebody give me like what you've seen as in things? Because MSNBC was reporting that there was like 6,000 deaths, and at the time there's only like right around just barely 2,000. And after, a lot of people were mentioning that, all of a sudden MSNBC changed their scroll down at the bottom to what was kind of more the correct number. It's like they're the biggest piece of crap out there like that. I mean, I can understand some of the other. The only thing I really hate on CNN is Don Lemon. I wish he'd just like get hit by a truck. Not killed, not maimed, but just
awesome.
Break a leg so he can't go in. I mean, he's
Give him other things to worry about.
Piece of crap I've ever seen in my whole life. I've
Don
never seen
Lemonhead, as they call him online.
I can't agree with you more, and I can't watch him. I mean, I'll watch, snippets of what he says, the ridiculous crap he says, I guess for the humor's sake or whatever. But no, I can't give him the credibility to even watch him because he's how can you let somebody like that be on the air? Is my question to CNN.
It's like Trump said, hey, I love this puppy. Later on that night, Don Lemon's on going, Trump hates older dogs, thinks they all should die. It's like he's such an idiot. For a guy that's got an education like he does, he's a complete freaking moron.
Yes, you're completely describing him perfectly. So, couldn't agree more.
I mean, they hired Keith Over, and you can see how stupid they are right then. So, anybody that hires Oberman's a moron.
So Ross, I've been putting up old episodes of Jiggy Jag TV on Facebook. And I have found some of the craziest things. I found something where you interviewed someone on the show. We had the deal where you excoriated Cousin Chris for shoving poor little Ozzy.
That was one of the few shows that I actually appeared on. You're right. Yes, I remember.
Then I found some of our old sample text stuff where we were doing political talk, and we had Ed Baldwin and Gary Schwarzenegger.
I mean, and those things, people watch them. People would call in and would when are you going to do that sample text again?
Oh yeah.
And this was before the days that you could put long-term stuff on YouTube, and I well remember. Oh heck yeah. And that was the happy times. That was like, we're the Germans in 1942, torpedoing the American, that was our happy time of it's it's all changed, and it's sad.
I found an old school deal where I dressed up in a purple suit and had a wig, and I called myself Jiggy Jaguar.
You and your
and John, wouldn't you know it? After I put it up, 2 days later, Trump pardoned him. They pardoned Rod Blagojevich of all people.
Oh, jeez. You're silly.
So John, there is all these pro wrestling guys. Can you speak to what the pro wrestling business is doing with all this? Because like last night, this WrestleMania thing, they did it in an empty building. I'm like, what?
Well, I mean, I actually thought they did a good job considering, and I mean, yeah, people want to sit there and say they should have canceled, should have done this, postponed it, or whatever. But I mean, it gave people a release. I mean, it was like for 3-4 hours, you forgot about all the crap that's going on, and it gave you a release. There's I hate mentioning this because it was on Facebook, but it was like a TikTok from Kevin Owens, and he was talking. He goes, "Hey, we know it wasn't the best or the greatest, but we did it so people could have a sense of somewhat of normalcy just for a few hours."
Because before this time, there just was no such thing as a big, WWE type event or any kind of wrestling event that the place wasn't packed. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
They
I mean, especially for WrestleMania. And
really?
I thought it was great how they split it up between 2 days. So that way it gives somebody something to do because they know everybody's stuck inside. I mean, you can only, watch so much of Jiggy Exotic, down there. So, I mean...
I'll tell you, I see that show.
It's smaller, but...
I see that show, and I'm like, man, they need to do a Netflix documentary on me. And,
there's the right count for it, the better meth. Heck yeah.
But we've got all that old footage, Ross. He could pull from, and since we're all three media guys, done radio and done TV things, I was terribly jealous of Joe Exotic's studio. That place was massive. I'm like, oh my God, he's got a green screen. He's got. I was like, I need that setup.
Well, you just sell meth like half the other people in Hutch, then you'd be all right. You could get that, I'm sorry, did I say it out loud? My bad.
Drug addicts, no.
They just live in apartments right now.
Is Thomas Lamb still dead?
No, he came back to life fairly recently and interviewed a man.
Okay, just I wanted to interject that in there.
Yeah, Thomas Lamb came back from the dead.
He's not still dead.
He's not still dead. He's back. And he's interviewing bands. Because I went over to his new Facebook page and I put in something about, wow, this is the greatest thing ever. This magazine has this dead zombie reporter. And he's interviewing all these bands.
Oh, come on. Kenny's not dead. Jeez. Oh, you mean a different zombie. Okay, my bad.
And then I think the New Era podcast is still broadcasting, John. So we...
He should have been dead a long time ago. My God.
We had this group of podcast guys who found a show that me and John did where we interviewed somebody, porn chick something. And
it was Victoria from WWE, and she had some.
That's it. Explain this to Ross.
And they were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he degraded him." Da 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 da. I mean, they were if you want to talk like liberal hips, that's what they were. I mean, to the max. They were up from the Northeast, so the overtaxed, and hey, this is so great, but that's the reason we're moving out of the area because we don't want to be taxed to death.
And they moved to freaking Colorado. And it's mostly Californians that way. They're sick and tired of 13% personal tax, and they come to Colorado, and then they screw up our laws. I mean, it's. We have one saving grace. It's called TABOR, the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights, which basically says if you're going to if any government agency is going to impose a new tax on you or raise taxes, well, it's got to go to the people first. They've got to elect that in, and that's a real problem for liberals that want to just impose taxes. So that's kind of our one saving grace in Colorado, that, means that we're not, just exploded with taxation, and we're still a pretty good place to move to. But, I wonder what's going to happen in our state legislatures. We'll see.
By the way, John, I found, and this might give you some more ammunition with the New Era podcast, but they're from Massachusetts.
I know. I remember. We looked it up. Remember?
The People's Republic of Massachusetts.
Well, I was sitting there joking around how they were down there doing their podcast, and it's like, Mom, quit it! We're doing our podcast. Like that. What, cookies? Ooh, snickerdoodles. Like that. They were down in the basement, and they were the guys that you seen on Robot Chicken that were doing the thing. It's like, I'm doing my web show, Mom. Oh, look at the dork doing his web show. Oh, I mean, that's what those guys. I got a picture of one of them. I forgot where or what I did with it. And I mean, I'm a dork, but this guy made me look normal. So.
It's always the we're always getting attacked from all sides. When me and Ross were doing the TV show, we had a radio station try to have us arrested and thrown out of a park, which maybe that was just good business. I don't know.
That's a different story to you. That's why you can't go around petting zoos anymore either. But I mean, I don't know. The statute of limitations may ran out on that. I'm joking, people. He's never done anything like that.
We were at our heyday around 10 years ago. We were just causing all sorts of trouble, weren't we, Jiggy?
we got known as that fucking Jiggy and that fucking Ross.
That fucking Ross.
Well, I've been known that way all my life. I mean, hey.
So
it's usually that effing bastard John, and
that's right. So John, they're getting ready to put at one point during this whole COVID, before COVID-19, they were getting ready to put you into a Hall of Fame somewhere. Talk to us about this.
Oh, I thought that was kind of cool. I helped.
Yes.
Yeah, I helped. I basically helped carry that promotion out there. It's like I had half the town wanting to kick my ass, and the other half liked me because they talked to me afterwards. When I was out there in the crowd, I was a jerk. I mean, I wasn't like, F you, F this, but I was very creative with my insults. It's like I had some people pretty darn frustrated, but we had, were you there that night that we popped and got together as the Dynasty and we almost had to fight our way to the back?
I think so.
Well, we sit there, we beat up Dan and Mike and Lenny, and we piled them up in the middle of the ring. As we started to go back, fans started to come in on us. Because, I mean, they were hot. We had a packed house that night. And they started to come in on us. Well, anyway, I pie-faced one guy. And, Jammer, he just looks at everybody. And he goes, this one dude started to come up on him, Jammer goes, boo! Like that. The guy just goes, ah! Like that, and falls backward on his ass. And it just kind of split like the Red Sea. And we hustled back there, but...
I managed to get Ross to come out and help us film one of the shows out in Hoisington, and it was the night that they had Al Snow, Rick Steiner, and Hardcore Holly versus Jammer. And afterwards, Ross is like, as we're putting all the cameras away, he's like, these people are crazy. And I go, yeah, the wrestlers or something else. He goes, no, the fans.
Oh my God. Okay, Hoisington is a lot like East Tennessee. If you got to East Tennessee, they still believe this stuff. And I mean, they're pretty psycho out there. I've got friends that work out that way. They live out there to wrestle. But yeah, you are totally right. The people there in Hoisington are bat crap crazy sometimes, and I mean,
my mom had relatives in and around Johnson City, Tennessee, which is certainly just about right at the border.
That's about where they are too. My friend's in Ranch or whatever.
Like, I think it's the.
He's near Kingsport is where he's at.
It's like the rhododendron capital of the world, or something like that. So
What?
Hey, they're proud of their flowers.
They're proud of their flowers.
With no southern, no flowers.
When I got in Florida State, it was the syphilis capital of the U.S.
Okay, that works too, but
It was a different